In today's video, we're going to be talking about the shoulder PT you should be doing to keep your shoulders healthy for the stressors that are placed on them when you're boxing. If you can stay up on this, if you can do it regularly, hopefully you can avoid shoulder injuries, stay on track, and keep getting better so you can have success when you fight. So I have a whole laundry list of injuries that I've had to my shoulders. I've had a separated AC joint, I've had a torn pec minor, a torn trap, a bucket handle tear in the labrum, torn supraspinatus and subspinatus, lots of issues around the rotator cuff. And over the years, I've collected a bunch of exercises that help cue me, and when I do them consistently and I don't skimp or skip them, I find that I can avoid shoulder injuries. Every time I get a shoulder injury, it's because time was tight, I truncated or skipped the warm-up, jumped right to the workout, and that's what got me. So I'm gonna lay these out for you so that you can avoid injuries and have success. First thing we do is we just warm up and move with no resistance our shoulders, our neck, and specifically wake up our rotator cuff. So we do our shoulder circles. I do 6 forward and 6 backward. We do our 8-direction neck stretch. I hold this for 3 seconds going all the way around clockwise and then all the way around counterclockwise. Then I move to queuing up my rotator cuffs and finally stretching my rotator cuffs, which I hold for 10 or 12 seconds. From here, we move on to the elastics. I use very light elastics, usually between 3 and 6 pounds. I do my T's, my Y's, and my A's, and while I do these, I focus on scapular movement, making sure that I'm not tight, making sure that that range of motion is great. I do my pitchforks to target that rotator cuff specifically with some resistance. And then I do these very exaggerated elastic rows where I really focus on pushing my back out and then squeezing everything in my upper back together. Now that my shoulders have been stabilized and woken up, I move on to flies. With these flies, I really try to feel the elastic reflex at the end range of motion. Feel that bounce at the limits of that range of motion, because that elastic reflex is part of what you leverage to punch hard. So this is me honing in on that and putting a little bit of stress on those muscles on the front of the shoulders and the biceps that are going to be absorbing force when I'm landing shots. Now that I've done my non-resisted and gently resisted exercises, I move to my bodyweight exercises. It is not negotiable that I must do my deficit push-ups. For those deficit push-ups, I do 12 repetitions. This is so important for stretching out all of those muscles that are going to absorb force when you land a punch. I find this is the #1 thing, if I'm consistent with it, that helps me stave off tweaking my shoulders. From here, I move on to my pull-ups. I do 6 full hang chest to bar pull-ups, and then I head back to the station where I did my deficit push-ups, and I sit for a 20 or 30 second stretch on my chest. And then I finish my bodyweight exercises by going back to the bar and doing chin-ups. Once again, 6 full hang chest to bar chin-ups. While it all sounds simple, consistency is key here. 6 pull-ups doesn't sound like a lot, but if I do this 6 days a week, then all of a sudden I'm doing 36 pull-ups as my weekly volume, and that adds up, that frequency adds up, that consistency adds up, and it keeps me strong. If you can keep consistent with this, you can get ahead of injuries and you can make yourself more durable so that you don't get beat down, you don't have to take time off, and you can keep momentum to have success when you fight.